really an incredible feeling to share this moment with you. I met Rashida when she was just 11 years old. I remember it very well. She told me that she wanted to be a doctor and to learn Japanese. Rashida was part of Teek's first graduating class, who started in 1998. She was accepted to every single school she applied to, and her mom, Lucienne Green. Lucienne. Lucienne is a longtime public school employee in New York City, and we went on an amazing tour, and we slept on the floor at Andover trying to make decisions for Rashida at St. Paul's, Andover, Exeter, all these amazing schools. It was the first time that we had a choice at the Teek Fellowship, and that we were not asking anybody for anything, but they were asking where would Rashida go, this very special girl. So it was a big day for us. Today she's a pediatrician. Tonight at Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx, if there's an emergency, she's the person that they're going to call. She's the lead pediatrician tonight. Her acceptances to these incredible schools 20 years ago were a milestone, as I said, not just for her and her family, but for Teek and for me, and an unforgettable experience. Rashida, we're very, very proud of you and how you led our first class, and how you and your classmates in what we call the pioneers opened the doors for all of us. Thank you. I am incredibly moved to be here tonight from Hawaii, celebrating 2 decades of Teek. I never imagined saying that so soon. It's actually gone very fast because everybody's been very busy. There are so many people who made this organization happen, who contributed to and committed to these young people. But first, I want to tell you about how it all started. As many of you know, the name Teek is not just the name of the strongest wood, the one that weathers all the seasons. Teek is the name of my childhood best friend, Teek Dyer. In the late 80s, on the night before her high school graduation, she was raped and murdered by a stranger. She was at the beginning of her life, on her way to her first choice college. She was a sister, a daughter, a granddaughter, and a very great friend. I was 18 years old and headed to college myself. I was frozen with grief, and I never stopped thinking about Teek through my college years. After I graduated, I worked in the Bronx with low-income, very talented youth. There I met a boy named DeWitt White, a star scholar, a piano prodigy, as well as a wonderful friend and a son. DeWitt played at Carnegie Hall. He was a very special musician. He loved Mozart. One day he was shot and killed, just like that. He was 17, I was 28. I couldn't stop thinking about the music DeWitt would never make. I knew then that I needed to pour my sadness, both for Teek and for DeWitt, into something bigger than myself, to make their lives matter, and for me to survive. But how? In the wake of profound loss, how do we move forward? I'm sure you all have experienced this. How do we move forward? The best answer I've found, and I still take inspiration from, comes from something Mother Teresa said that my friend Allie, who came here from Germany, told me about once. She said, Mother Teresa was feeding a hospital of sick children in Calcutta, and someone asked her, how do you not feel overwhelmed by the poverty and all the help that's needed? And you're only one person. How do you decide who to help and what to do next in the face of so much need? And she answered, I just do what's in front of me. The loss of Teek Dyer and DeWitt White were in front of me. The loss of their bright futures wasn't something I could compartmentalize. In fact, I thought about it all the time. I felt compelled to honor their memories, and how could I help the many like DeWitt, who had such extraordinary promise, but lacked opportunity to realize their potential. the way to make a difference became clear, a place like Teak. In 1998, when Tracy Nixon and Rob Kaplan, friends of mine who were also interested in making a difference in the world, asked me what I wanted this place to be like, I said, I want Teak to be a New York institution, a place where the best and brightest students from lower and no-income backgrounds can be given the tools to become leaders in this country. And with their help, our founding board co-chairs, Tracy and Rob, and so many others, have helped me and this program to make this a reality. This is so much bigger than us. And so I want to dedicate tonight to our early believers, to Tracy, Rob, to John Green, who back then was head of a very prestigious boarding school, and in 1998 descended the staircase to the basement of Friends Seminary, where Melissa Wu, Jacques Pierre, and I were working. And he took his place at a dilapidated cardboard table and began the process of accepting a Teak Fellow, Diana Ozumboya, into Petty. John was the first to say yes to our students, to say yes to me. He later told me that he thought I would go nowhere and that this was crazy, but that he felt like he should just go along with it. He waited 19 years to tell me that. He went on to accept nearly a dozen more students over the next 2 decades, and you know that means $100,000 for each student. It's a huge commitment. He helped open the doors at other schools by doing so. Today, of course, John is our executive director. I could have never dreamed of anything like that. I also want to honor my mother, Shirley, my late father, Larry, who actually was a scholarship student at John Green's school in the early 1940s, not when John Green was there. But some of you know this, he had been back there for 50 years, and in his day, as a scholarship student, students were treated very differently than they are now. And when students would get into Lawrenceville and Petty, he would say, go to Lawrenceville, it's always been a first-rate school. And that's because in his day, scholarship students would do the laundry for the other students and a lot of things like that John Green and his predecessors changed. In fact, Martin Luther King first spoke in the North at Petty School, and it had a whole history that he didn't really know about. And thanks to Lenny Chow, who's here tonight, who gave him his tour of Petty, he learned that these are different kinds of institutions than they were in the 1940s, and really fantastic places to realize your dreams. My father said, always go for the brass ring. And when he heard about this idea with Teak, he said, I think this is the ultimate brass ring. I know you can do it. Teak's parents, Rod and Jackie, also were right there with us, and my late stepfather, Stuart Jaffe. I want to thank my extended family and my childhood girlfriends from Los Angeles who are all here tonight. This is what happens when a community sticks together. Thank you so much. And of course, the early Teak Fellows themselves. There are over 40 Teak Fellows along here tonight. Would you please stand up? Teak employees, the first trustees, the early believers, the early funders, the early mentors. It was so hard, I'm sure, to sign up in your busy New York lives for the Teak Fellowship and to say yes, and you all said yes. It's hard to say yes to someone so young, somebody who's sitting in a basement. I was actually in a closet of an ad agency holding all sorts of important meetings. I actually just saw a man, Vincent, over there who works at the Episcopal school and really, really believed in me when I had nothing and took Cheryl Morris into the Episcopal school in Virginia. And he's still there, and she was our first student to go to Harvard, which was a really big deal for us. Thank you. Thank you, amazing Mark Becker, and thank you current trustees and old trustees and staff. If you've ever worked at the Teak Fellowship, and I know you've gone on to other amazing things and you're here tonight, or you work there now, or you have ever been a trustee, if you've ever kept the books for the Teak Fellowship for years and years, just for fun, if you've sat at that table or you sit at that table now at these meetings that are never ending and come and come and come and come, I want to thank you and ask you to stand up. Trustees and staff. You are the ones, thank you, who took my calls in the middle of the night, who worried about Teak, who fought for Teak, who protected Teak, Bob Reeder, who gave to Teak like it was your own baby. Thank you. Speaking of babies, when I left Teak to live with my great husband, John Arrillaga, in California, and raise our sons, Jack, Finn, and Ben Arrillaga, trustees and staff, you became the beating heart of Teak, and you have taken Teak to new heights. You helped make Teak a true New York institution. And I actually used to say, I want it to be like Harvard, like the public library. And they would laugh at me. But you never stopped working. Thank you. And lastly, to the alums, thank you all from the deepest place in my heart for being a part of this tremendous 20-year journey with me. I feel so young. I can't believe it's been 20 years. Thank you for seeing the possibilities. Thank you to your parents for believing in us and believing that we could do this together and that it's so much better to be part of a community. I'll never forget 9/11, how happy I was that we were all together, especially Christian Montoya and I. Yeah, that day, walking together. Diligence is the mother of good luck, as George Washington said, and this is the most diligent group. Thank you, students. So, while I'm grateful to be honored tonight, it's everyone in this room who deserves recognition. Thank you for coming from Mexico City, Germany, San Francisco, Hawaii, LA, Shanghai. I think you all know I'm a worst tennis player in the world, biggest tennis fan. Michael and Amber Chang, thank you for coming all the way from coaching Nishikori in Japan tonight, and China, and hightailing it here, leaving their children for the first time ever tonight to be here for me. What nice friends, thank you. Really makes us feel special at the Teak Fellowship. A final word, it's a tough time right now in the world, we all feel that. There's so much work to be done, but I continue to think about Mother Teresa's advice. Do what's in front of you. I did that, you did that, and together we made something extraordinary. Thank you for coming from every corner of New York, and what began as helping a few children has grown to helping over 500 children, and almost everybody over there is a mentor themselves. So this is the gift that keeps giving. Thank you for signing up to be mentors, Teak Fellows, and other people here. The Teak Fellowship is DeWitt's music living on. I can hear it tonight. My friend Teak's continuing legacy. Thank you so much.